For those who have witnessed a wedding objection during the speak now or forever hold your peace portion, what happened? At my cousin's wedding, when the exchanging of vows took place, my aunt shouted, "Wasn't there supposed to be a part where you could object, or something along those lines?" Aunt, I object. Minister, overruled. A member of my wife's family had a pirate-themed wedding. A rival pirate appeared and objected to the wedding. The groom dueled him with rapiers and won. The groom himself. He just stood up there and started crying and, in front of everyone, told the bride that he'd fallen out of love with her a while before, but he didn't know how to break it off. It was extremely uncomfortable. They both stepped out, and 10 minutes later came back out and got married, because she'd apparently told him she was pregnant. They're still together, with 3 kids, and I'm not sure about the husband, but I can confirm that the wife is having an affair. Neither of them are happy, but she has a comfortable life and he doesn't have the spine to leave. Nobody had said speak now, but the groom's ex still decided to get up and scream that he was her soulmate, that she forgave him for this whole thing, and that they should leave now because he'd proven his point by breaking up with her 5 years earlier, falling in love, and holding a wedding. I ate so much cake and got so drunk at that wedding. Meanwhile, everyone else was screaming and throwing stuff. Good times. The bride was my boyfriend's ex. No idea why they invited us. One of my friends interrupted his cousin's wedding to come out of the closet. He couldn't understand why people were so pissed at him. Edit. This was the second time my friend had come out to his family. The first time was when he was a teenager, about 8 years earlier, and 90% of his family that was attending said wedding was already aware. There's a time and place, and that place is definitely not a wedding and certainly not during the ceremony. Unless he's the groom. Groom, actually, there's something I've been meaning to tell you, all of you in this room. Really, there's no easy way to say this, so I'm just going to do it. Okay. Here it goes. You can do this. Long pause. I'm gay. Person in the crowd, yeah, we figured that out when you invited us to a wedding between you and this guy. This happened very recently, but in a different manner than the other comments I'm seeing. For years, groom and best man are super close, room together, and the running joke is that they're more than friends. Later on, groom meets bride, falls in love, and proposes. New running joke is that best man is very disappointed that groom is marrying someone else. At the wedding, officiant asks if anyone has objections. Best man objects. Officiant quickly overrules the objection. It was planned, and bride thought it was a funny way to acknowledge the super close friendship between groom and best man. Did not result in anyone being kicked out or awkwardness. Fun and surprisingly appropriate. I was at an outdoor ceremony once, with a storm coming in. The pastor was trying to move things along so that we wouldn't get caught in the rain. The reception was indoors. He asked if anyone knows of any objection, and instantly, there was a loud clap of thunder. To his credit, the pastor just paused a moment and then said, "Anyone else? All right, in that case." And finished the ceremony. Edit. The couple is still together, and happily a fake. I was the +1, so I'm not super close to them. So take that, passive-aggressive supernatural objector. Edit 2, holy cow, I go to sleep and wake up with gold. Thanks, kind Redditor. Only once, but it was non-romantic. The father of the bride had been pretty absentee after her parents' divorce. He had remarried and gotten into the Christian Science religion, and they were both pretty terrible. The new wife was not invited to my friend's wedding, but the father came and it seemed like he was there to be supportive. He stood up during vows and proclaimed my friend was a bitch just like her mother and the groom should get out while he can because my friend was a soul-leeching succubus. Not the worst wedding I ever went to. What do you mean not the worst? Story time. I'm 30 and I'm starting to think I may be bad luck because I've been to a few disasters when most people can't name one. The highlights would be the ceremony being interrupted because the woman the groom was seeing on the side appeared with their baby. Yes, their secret love baby, and the groom explaining that polygamy is natural and we should be more open-minded. The bride, my former college roommate, insisting on driving herself to the wedding and getting a DUI en route. Then making an ill attempt at seducing the officer to get out of it, being turned down and subsequently slapping the officer and getting arrested for assault. Wedding for a co-worker on one of those Sunset Cruises. Engine fails and starts a small fire and everyone had to evacuate the boat. +1 to a wedding. The couple were completely SCMMED by their wedding planner. Venue wasn't actually booked, no caterer, no cake, no DJ, no nothing. She scammed them out of thousands. 250 guests milling about in a town center parking lot. They of course reported her, but I don't think they were ever able to recover much of their money. Edit. A lot of people have asked how I've been to this many crazy weddings. Honestly, between college and working many different levels of jobs throughout my 20s, I just happened to be invited to a lot of weddings. In general, it seems like the stress of weddings in general tend to bring out something unique. Can I please be your date to the next one you get invited to? I don't drink, so I make an excellent DD. I don't smoke, I'm a nurse, and I only ask for one piece of cake and the right to watch whatever stiff show inevitably goes down. Went to a co-worker's wedding and the maid of honor objected and admitted to being the other woman and that the groom had been cheating with her for months. The bride left in tears and the groom immediately tried to get with the mo, but she told him she wasn't gonna hurt the bride further and that he needs to duck off. The bride is doing much better and is now a manager here, and I haven't heard from the groom in over a year. The mo and bride are on speaking terms, but I don't think their relationship is gonna ever be what it used to be. I saw it nearly happen at my uncle's wedding. A friend of theirs got too drunk, and when Say said speak now, he smiled, started to stand up. My mother grabbed him by his hair and sat him back down by force. Edit. Clarification and context. It was my mother, the groom's sister. The drunk was a close friend of both the bride and groom, so he was seated up front. He's a nice dude but sometimes a bit of a dumbass. It was a small non-traditional wedding. They were wed in the botanical gardens by a justice of the peace. The reception was held in the same place. When you entered the area for the wedding/reception, there was an open bar, so some people helped themselves before the ceremony started. And one overindulged a bit. When I was 13, we went to my second cousin's wedding. Everything is going great. They even got past the speak now or forever hold your peace part. They wrote their own vows, but before my second cousin's fiancée/wife could even begin her vows, his son got up, announced to the entire room that she was cheating on his dad with her drug dealer and he couldn't let his dad marry her. My second cousin yelled at his son to either sit down or leave. The son left. My second cousin married her anyways, and 5 years and 1 baby later he finds out it was true and they separated, but were too tweaked out to be able to afford a divorce. Finally he got married a third time, but before he could get married, his third now ex-wife had to pay for their divorce. This wedding had no objections. They moved to Missouri, and this time instead of separating or asking for a divorce, he decided he didn't want to be married anymore and just moved back to Cali to get back together with his second ex-wife. Yep, family dinners are a little awkward. It was at my wedding that we had at my grandmother's house, who lives out in the country next to a cattle farm. The cows didn't make a peep till that moment, and one finally went moo. We all laughed and continued, but it was a funny moment about my wedding. Edit. Just gotta add the normal part about being my highest post. And best, it's about a cow going moo.